People are tired of the old, overdone retirement states. Everybody knows Arizona and Florida reign supreme when it comes to blue hair migration.
Don't you dare call me a blue hair, you son of a witch!
Now they're still on the list, but other states are poised to take a bigger share than they have in years past. Today we look at 15 states that people are retiring to in 2026. They're the states that are predicted to see the biggest rate change in retiree migration. Oddly enough, the digital nomad list is almost identical. So today, we count down and see who's going to have the biggest change. Let's take a look. Number 15, Arizona. Arizona didn't become a retirement destination because it was cheap. It became one because it was predictable. For decades, retirees moved here knowing exactly what they were getting. Dry heat, endless sunshine, master-planned communities, and a lifestyle designed around people who were done shoveling snow and negotiating icy sidewalks. Arizona built entire cities around retirees, and for a long time, that system worked beautifully. What's changed isn't the weather, it's the math. Housing costs rose fast and didn't look back. Retirees arriving today often discover that the affordable desert living they researched 5 years ago no longer exists in places like Phoenix or Scottsdale, or even outer suburbs. HOA fees stack on top of rising property taxes, and utilities quietly eat into fixed incomes as summers get hotter and longer. Healthcare access remains strong in major metro areas, but Arizona exposes a sharp divide the moment you drift outward. Smaller towns promise peace and quiet, but accessing specialists often means long drives and long wait times. Retirees who assumed desert isolation came with desert convenience quickly rethink that assumption. Arizona still works for retirees with home equity and strong budgeting discipline. It struggles for those expecting it to feel like a financial shortcut. The state didn't betray retirees. It just stopped being frozen in time. Number 14, South Carolina. South Carolina attracts retirees with a soft voice and a friendly smile. There's a lot of southern charm floating around this state. Low property taxes sound great. Mild winters sound better. Coastal charm and historic towns make the state feel welcoming without feeling overwhelming. For many retirees, South Carolina feels like a gentler version of Florida. Slower, quieter, and less crowded. The complications show up gradually. But that's not stopping retirees from making the move to South Carolina. Healthcare access is excellent in a few places and unreliable in many others. Retirees who settle outside major hubs like Charleston or Greenville often discover that routine care is manageable, but specialized care requires planning, patience, and travel. As people age, that distance matters more than scenery ever did. Taxes are another quiet adjustment. While Social Security benefits receive favorable treatment, other retirement income doesn't always escape the tax net. Insurance costs rise steadily near the coast, especially as storms become more frequent and rebuilding costs climb. South Carolina is becoming more popular with retirees every year, and it works best for retirees who choose location carefully and accept trade-offs early. It works poorly for those who assume every charming town comes with modern infrastructure behind the scenes. Number 13, Tennessee. Tennessee sells retirement in one sentence: no state income tax. That promise alone has pulled in retirees from across the country, especially those escaping high-tax states like New Jersey and New York. On paper, Tennessee looks like freedom. No taxes on Social Security, no taxes on pensions, no annual reminder that the government knows your birthday. The reality is more layered, but still worth it to most retirees. Sales taxes are high, and they don't care that you're retired. Groceries, essentials, everyday living, it all adds up faster than newcomers expect. Healthcare access depends almost entirely on geography. Nashville offers top-tier care at rising prices. Smaller towns offer affordability, but fewer providers, fewer specialists, and longer drives. Infrastructure reflects the tax structure. Roads, transit, and public services vary dramatically by county. Retirees who move expecting uniform, low-tax efficiency quickly learn that Tennessee operates town by town, sometimes street by street. Tennessee works well for healthy retirees who want to prioritize tax simplicity and don't need frequent specialized care. It works less well for those who assume low taxes meant free money. I will give you a heads up about Tennessee. If you only know about its cities, you need to understand that this state gets backwoods real fast outside the major metro areas. I'm talking 5 people living in a 30-year-old trailer with only 11 teeth between them. Number 12, North Carolina. North Carolina is the retirement state people choose when they want options and hate Florida. Mountains, coast, mid-sized cities, research hubs, few states offer as many lifestyle variations without crossing state lines. Retirees arrive believing they've found balance, reasonable taxes, 4 seasons, and solid healthcare access. And for a growing number of retirees, it's not Florida. That balance comes with pressure. Growth has been relentless. Housing prices rise steadily, even in towns that once felt safely under the radar. Development follows retirees instead of preceding them, and infrastructure often plays catch-up. Healthcare remains one of North Carolina's strongest advantages. Research Triangle hospitals and regional medical centers give retirees confidence that care will be available as needs change. That stability keeps people in place even as costs rise. North Carolina rewards retirees who adapt with the state instead of expecting it to stay frozen. Those who accept change tend to stay. Those who expected a permanent bargain often keep looking. Infrastructure reflects the tax structure. Roads, transit, and public services vary dramatically by county. Number 11, Florida. Florida isn't just a retirement state, it's a retirement economy, a place where entire cities run on golf carts, early bird dinner specials, and the collective belief that winter is a personal attack. Everything here is engineered for aging residents. Medical networks are everywhere. Social calendars are packed. Entire master-planned communities exist solely for people who have permanently fired their alarm clocks. No state income tax is still a huge draw. And the sheer volume of healthcare options makes Florida feel like one giant waiting room with palm trees. But the hidden costs aren't hiding anymore. They're standing in your driveway holding an insurance bill. Insurance now runs the retirement budget. Homeowners insurance, flood insurance, wind insurance, just in case the ocean gets ideas insurance. Florida charges an annual subscription fee for living on a peninsula that sticks out into hurricane season. Property taxes creep up. Utility bills rise as summers get longer and air conditioners beg for mercy. Healthcare access is massive, but stretched thin. Seasonal residents arrive like migrating snowbirds and overwhelm the system. Hospitals fill up, appointments get pushed out, specialists book months in advance. Florida doesn't have a doctor shortage, it has a waiting room shortage. Florida still works for retirees who show up with money, flexibility, and a basic understanding of actuarial tables. What it no longer is an impulse retirement choice. Living here takes budgeting, planning, and a healthy respect for fine print. The sunshine is real, but so is the math. It's not the old affordable Florida, but retirees are still coming. Number 10, Texas. In Texas, retirees arrive with a very specific fantasy. No income tax, big house, big yard, big freedom. The idea that the state mostly leaves you alone as long as you don't complain and don't expect much. To be fair, the no income tax part is real. Texas doesn't touch your Social Security, your pension, or your retirement withdrawals. That alone is enough to make retirees from California, Illinois, and the Northeast start packing boxes mid-sentence. After years of watching pension checks get smaller the moment they clear, Texas feels like financial fresh air. Then the bills show up. Texas doesn't tax income because it taxes everything else. Property taxes here are not low. Retirees who proudly buy a house outright often learn the hard way that owning your home doesn't mean you're done paying for it. You just switched from monthly rent to annual property tax panic. Now, healthcare in Texas is fantastic if you live near a major city. Houston, Dallas, and San Antonio can go toe-to-toe with anyone. But wander into small-town Texas expecting quiet affordability and medical convenience, and suddenly your primary care doctor is 2 counties away. Rural hospital closures aren't a rumor, they're a trend. And then there's the heat. Texas summers aren't a season, they're a test of loyalty. Air conditioning runs non-stop. Electric bills climb like they're trying to escape the state. And extreme weather isn't an if anymore. It's a calendar item. Texas works for retirees who stay close to big cities, brace themselves for property taxes, and accept that low tax state is marketing language, not a lifestyle guarantee. It's freedom with fine print. Texas doesn't take your income, it just charges you admission in every other possible way. But retirees are still moving there and not looking back. This video is sponsored by Trust and Will. You ever notice how nobody wants to talk about estate planning? It's like the adult version of cleaning out the garage. We all know we need to do it, but somehow we just don't. Well, good news. Trust and Will makes the whole thing ridiculously simple. No courthouse, just an easy digital solution that walks you through everything step by step. Whether you just got married, bought a house, had a kid, or had one of those, oh, life is short moments, Trust and Will helps you protect the people you care about. You could set up a guardianship for your kids or pets, choose who gets your assets, and make sure nobody's fighting over your favorite lawn chair that you once enjoyed. And the peace of mind? It's huge. When the time comes, your loved ones will have the clarity instead of the chaos. Trust and Will has two options. The will-based plan, which starts at $199. It's perfect for newlyweds, parents, and anyone who wants a straightforward plan. And the trust-based plan, starting at $499. It's great for homeowners or families planning ahead. Plus, it helps you avoid probate, transfers your home efficiently, and keeps things private. It's incredibly easy to use. Seriously, if you could order a pizza online, you could set up your estate plan. And of course, Trust and Will isn't a substitute for legal counsel if you got a complex situation. But for most of us, it's exactly what we need. So take control of your future the simple way. You could use this QR code or go to trustandwill.com and get started today. Back to the video. Number 9, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania might be the least sexy retirement state that keeps accidentally winning retirees over. Not many people put it on retirement vision boards. The winters are cold, the skies are gray, and the state's overall vibe says work boots instead of flip-flops. The cities come with reputations, the small towns come with accents, and the landscape looks like it hasn't emotionally recovered from the Industrial Revolution. And yet retirees keep showing up anyway, especially from New Jersey, New York, and Maryland. Not because Pennsylvania is exciting, but because Pennsylvania makes sense. The reason is taxes. Specifically, Pennsylvania's unusually generous decision to leave retirement income alone. Social Security, untouched. Pensions, untaxed. Most retirement income, also ignored. That single policy does more heavy lifting than any tourism campaign ever could. Retirees don't move here for fun. They move here to stop hemorrhaging money. Then, of course, there's healthcare, which is Pennsylvania's quiet superpower. The hospital network here is deep, experienced, and widespread. You don't have to live in a major city to get competent care. Retirees don't spend their later years mapping out specialist road trips like a military operation. That alone puts Pennsylvania ahead of a lot of retiree states. Of course, nothing is free. The infrastructure shows its age. Roads feel like they were last repaired during the Nixon administration. Property taxes can be unpleasant depending on the county. And winter is not optional. Pennsylvania doesn't do mild cold. It does commitment testing. Pennsylvania attracts retirees who care more about predictable finances and reliable health care than bragging rights. A growing number of former New Yorkers and New Jerseyans are trading crowded suburbs for rural Pennsylvania, where the taxes hurt less, the space is real, and nobody pretends the weather's amazing. It's not glamorous, it's not warm, but it lets retirees keep their money. And that's a very convincing argument. Number 8, Georgia. On paper, the Peach State sounds like a dream. Mild winters, friendly towns, and taxes that sound reasonable if you don't read too closely. In theory, it's the South without the chaos and the bill without the shock. But in reality, Georgia is extremely location dependent. Metro Atlanta delivers excellent healthcare, top-tier hospitals, and specialists for just about everything. It also delivers traffic that feels like a lifestyle choice, housing costs that climbed faster than retirees expected, and daily stress that looks suspiciously like the thing people were trying to retire away from. The coast sells charm, scenery, and historic postcards. What it also sells is humidity that never takes a day off and storms that make insurance companies nervous, and yearly cost increases that sneak in quietly and stay forever. Georgia does tax some retirement income, although exemptions soften the hit enough to keep people from fleeing immediately. The real surprise comes when retirees leave metro areas and discover that rural Georgia's healthcare system runs on hope, long drives, and appointment flexibility. Hospital closures and provider shortages mean routine care can turn into a half-day event. Georgia works best for retirees who live close enough to major cities to use their services without letting the city use them back. It works worst for anyone who assumes that a peaceful small town automatically comes with doctors, specialists, and backup plans. Georgia isn't a retirement cheat code, but retirees are still making that move to the Peach State. Number 7, Idaho. The Gem State used to be the kind of place retirees discovered quietly and then told absolutely no one about. That phase is over. Retirees move here for the scenery, the safety, and the kind of slow pace that makes you forget what day it is. Mountains actually look like mountains. Towns still feel like towns. Outdoor access is real, not branded or monetized or surrounded by souvenir shops. They stay because Idaho still feels grounded. Community matters here. People notice when you're new, and if you're from California, they notice immediately, usually before you finish the sentence, "We just moved here." Idaho locals are polite about it, but the eye twitch gives them away. The hidden cost is housing, and it showed up fast. Idaho was affordable right up until everyone agreed it was affordable. Prices jumped, inventory vanished, and retirees who waited too long discovered the great deal they researched 5 years ago now comes with a bidding war and a lecture from a realtor about market realities. Healthcare access is improving, but it's uneven. Boise is solid and getting better every year. Outside that bubble, healthcare becomes something you plan around instead of something you assume. Appointments take longer, specialists require travel, patience becomes part of the lifestyle. Idaho works best for retirees who care more about how life feels than how fast things happen. If you need convenience, this isn't it. If you want quiet space and a place that still takes itself seriously, Idaho makes sense. Just don't mention where you moved from unless asked. Number 6, Virginia. Virginia doesn't try to sell itself as a retirement paradise. There's no nonstop sunshine pitch, no retire like a king slogan, and no desperate promise that everything will be cheap forever. And that's exactly why a certain type of retiree ends up here. People who move to Virginia usually know what they're doing. They aren't chasing hype. They want a place that functions, roads that mostly work, governments that don't reinvent themselves every election cycle, healthcare systems that don't require prayer and a backup plan. The tax situation is fine, not amazing, not awful. Virginia taxes retirement income, but age-based deductions soften the blow enough to keep people from feeling robbed. Property taxes are moderate, which in retirement counts as a win. You pay, but at least you can understand why. Healthcare is where Virginia quietly pulls ahead. You don't have to live in a major metro to find competent care. Doctors exist, hospitals are staffed, appointments don't feel like a competitive sport. It's not flashy healthcare. It's dependable, which matters more the longer you live there. Virginia works for retirees who value predictability over excitement and systems that function over slogans that sell. It's not a state you move to brag about. It's a state you move to so you don't have to think about things breaking all the time. And in retirement, that's a luxury. Number 5, Ohio. The Buckeye State doesn't appear on glossy retirement lists because Ohio doesn't photograph well. There's no ocean angle, no mountain glow, no marketing team whispering lifestyle every 5 seconds. And that's exactly why retirees keep ending up here. People don't move to Ohio because it inspired them. They move because it's cheap. Housing is still affordable in most of the state, and while property taxes vary depending on which county you land in, the costs don't jump out of the bushes and tackle you every year. Now, healthcare is where Ohio quietly embarrasses a lot of warmer states. Cleveland, Columbus, and Cincinnati aren't just decent. They're anchors of a medical system that actually works. Retirees don't have to plan their week around doctor availability. Yes, winter exists. Ohio makes no effort to hide that. Gray skies show up and stay a while, but a lot of retirees decide they'd rather deal with cold and clouds than hurricanes, wildfires, or insurance bills that feel like ransom notes. Ohio attracts retirees who want to stay solvent, stay insured, and stay near a hospital that answers the phone. It's not exciting, it's not trendy. But in retirement, excitement is overrated and stability is undefeated. Number 4, Michigan. Let's be honest, Michigan is not supposed to be winning at retirement. The Wolverine State usually shows up in conversations about rust, cold, and why your car suspension makes suspicious noises. But quietly, that narrative is breaking. Michigan retirees aren't moving here to impress anyone. They're not chasing status, sunshine, or a zip code that sounds good at dinner parties. They're moving for water, space, and the radical idea that retirement shouldn't feel like a financial stunt. The Great Lakes do something Florida and California can't anymore. They offer real waterfront without forcing you to sell a kidney. Retirees can still buy homes with lake views, live in quiet towns, and experience actual seasons instead of one long weather emergency. Taxes in Michigan are fine, not magical, not brutal, manageable, especially for retirees with modest incomes. Yes, Property taxes can sting in certain pockets, but home prices usually balance that out. Utilities stay reasonable. Insurance doesn't spike every year just to see if you're paying attention. Healthcare access holds up better than people expect. Metro areas are solid, and many smaller cities punch above their weight, especially compared to rural southern towns where the nearest specialist lives 3 counties away. The real adjustment isn't access, it's acceptance. Winter in Michigan is not a personality trait, it's a contract. It lasts, it doesn't apologize, and it expects you to own a decent coat. But the trade-off is stability. Costs don't whiplash. Towns don't reinvent themselves every 5 years. Life stays livable. Michigan appeals to retirees who value calm over climate marketing and affordability over fantasy, and the ones who move here and stay usually don't feel the need to explain themselves, because the math already did. Number 3, Minnesota. Minnesota keeps landing near the top of quality of life rankings, and retirees keep noticing, usually after they've already moved somewhere warmer and realized warmth doesn't fix broken systems. This is a state that actually works. Healthcare here isn't just technically available, it's organized, staffed, and prepared for the fact that people eventually need more than optimism and a referral. You don't have to live in a major metro to get competent care, and that alone cancels out a lot of complaints about taxes once people start aging in real time. Yes, Minnesota taxes retirement income. And yes, winter is not symbolic here. This is not a cute snow state. But retirees who settle in Minnesota tend to repeat the same line over and over. Things are handled, roads get plowed, appointments happen, power stays on. Nobody shrugs and tells you to just wait it out. Infrastructure functions the way it's supposed to, public spaces are maintained, senior services exist and are actually funded. Minnesota is kind of strong when it comes to senior programs. You can see where the money goes, which is refreshing in a country where taxes often feel like a donation with no receipt. Minnesota attracts retirees who aren't trying to dodge every tax at all costs. They're trying to dodge chaos. They'd rather pay a little more and know what they're getting than gamble on sunshine and hope the system shows up when they need it. It's not a retirement fantasy. It's a retirement that shows up on time. Number 2, Washington State. Washington doesn't look expensive. It is expensive, and retirees still keep moving here anyway, which should tell you something. This isn't a state people stumble into because it's affordable. Retirees choose Washington after deciding they're done gambling. No state income tax helps, especially if you've got pensions, investments, or retirement income you'd prefer the government not pawing through. The money stays predictable, which is a theme Washington leans into hard. Washington has great healthcare, and that is another reason people tolerate the price tag. Access is strong, systems are organized, and you don't have to live your life around medical logistics. That alone separates Washington from a long list of cheaper states that quietly outsource healthcare to road trips. Quality of life in Washington is high in a very unflashy way. Summers are mild, nature is close without being a tourist circus. Things generally work, roads get fixed, services function, nobody acts surprised when you expect competence, the expensive stuff shows up in housing. The western side of Washington, home prices are insane. And while property taxes aren't outrageous, the rest of the cost of living fills in the gaps fast. Utilities, insurance, and everyday expenses don't scream at you. They just quietly stack. The biggest hurdle for most people is dealing with the weather. Calling it moody is an understatement. It's almost like having a 16-year-old emo girl with hormonal issues following you around. Washington works best for retirees who arrive with equity, patience, and zero interest in chasing deals. This is not a bargain retirement. It's a stability purchase. It's not cheap. It's calm. And number 1, Wisconsin. Wisconsin doesn't campaign for retirees. There are no glossy billboards promising your best life, no palm trees awkwardly photoshopped into brochures, no mayor begging you to move there for a tax credit and a tote bag. It works. Housing is still affordable, which already puts Wisconsin ahead of about 70% of the country. Towns feel neighborly without hovering. People will notice if you don't pick up your mail for a week. They might even pick it up for you, but they won't ask what your political opinions are before helping you shovel. That's just not the Wisconsin way. Healthcare is solid across most of the state, not just in one shiny metro bubble surrounded by medical deserts. Yes, taxes exist, Wisconsin doesn't pretend they don't. The difference is you can actually see where the money goes. Things function here. It's a refreshingly boring transaction. What retirees keep mentioning, quietly, like they don't want to jinx it, is how easy life feels here. Bills don't randomly double. Towns don't rebrand themselves every 5 years with a new slogan and worse traffic. Nothing feels like a beta test. Winters are cold, but this isn't a state that panics when snow happens in January. Plows run, power stays on. Hospitals don't suddenly become seasonal attractions. Wisconsin treats winter like a responsibility, not a personality trait. This is where people retire when they're done gaming the system. No spreadsheets, no lifestyle arbitrage, just a place where retirement feels less like a long-term strategy and more like life continuing, but slower. All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Now go out, have a great day, be nice to each other.